Good morning, and welcome to Issues That Matter. I'm Robert Picone, and I'm your host. And today we have two guests, not one, but two guests. First, we have Derek Volk. Derek, welcome back.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Pleasure to have you. And we also have Mike McInnis. Welcome.
Welcome.
Now, Mike is
The quartermaster of VFW Post 799.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And Derek, what's happening?
Everything's good. Good. I wanted Mike to come on and talk about what's going on at the VFW. That's where we're, as we talked about during the last interview, that's where all the money for our Heroes Wall, from our Heroes Wall is going. And we're very excited to be partnering up with the local VFW.
Now, in one of our earlier conversations when before you ever on the first show, we talked about corporations having good quality public conscience and doing things good for the community. And that's something that views that you and I very much share. Let's talk about that for a little while.
Okay.
All right. Where do you see the benefit coming into from your perspective as the corporate owner? Where do you see the benefits of being a good corporate citizen?
Oh, I see a lot of benefits, in a lot of different ways. Number one, I think it's the right thing to do. I think that a company that is in a local area and wants to support the community, whether it's with their products or by being someplace good for their people to work, someplace their people are happy to work. And we have lots of family members over the years that have recommended other family members, nieces, nephews, children. At one point we had 5 of one family all working in the company that ranked the number of Volks. There were 4 Volks and there were 5 brewers. So if you want to be
fair,
it's a family affair. If you want to be, active in the community as an employer, you need to be active in the community in multiple ways. And so that's number one, is it's a good way to stay present in the community. And it's something that we just have always felt is important, that we give back. It goes all the way back to the Bible, where it says, "He who is given much, much is expected." And that's kind of the way I look at it, is if our company is successful, if we have a difficult year, well, obviously we're gonna have to cut back a little on that. But if business is going well, then we're gonna push some of that money into the community as much as we can. When it comes to the Heroes Wall, it's just something that just struck me as, when I saw another Heroes Wall, I just felt like, how can I not do this? It was almost like a lightning bolt. I was like, this is not even an option. I have to do this. And it's been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. So it's a whole number of things. And of course, it's good for business. Customers like knowing that we have an active part of the community, that we give back. Some customers like it, to be honest with you. Some customers couldn't care less. As we see Maine change and New England, for that matter, New England change, we have less and less locally owned companies. And so the local companies, the companies like mine, other companies that are owned locally and owned by people from Maine, they care. They care that we've been sponsoring Little League teams for 44 years now, that we give back to the community, that we do a Heroes Wall. Big companies that are, XYZ Inc. based out of Manhattan, honestly, they couldn't care less. So we have enough customers at this point that are still locally owned that we know that it provides a value to the company with our employees, with our customers, and because it's the right thing to do.
And I suspect that much of the value is unseen. You may not even recognize it.
Right.
I look at myself. I spent my career with a large multinational insurance company, and I can tell you that the number of frustration moments that I had while I was working for that company was severe, large number. However, there was one factor, in retrospect, when I think back, there was one factor that locked me into that company, that I said, I will not walk away from this company. And that factor was it had a demonstrated social conscience. It's a company that went out of its way to do good things. Long-term, good things.
That's great.
And that's one of the things that held me to that company. So much of the advantage you just spoke of, I think is hidden. You may not even realize it.
Oh, it's very much hidden. I have a friend who wrote a book recently about the whole concept of being a good corporate citizen and the positive impacts that would have both on employees and on customers. And he wanted to do, right after he wrote his book, it was all mostly theory, and so he wanted to put it in practice. So his question to me was, can I use Volk packaging as kind of a beta site, so to speak, and figure out how your corporate citizenship has helped your company? And I said, yeah, you can, but I have no idea how you'd pull that information together. Unless you want to go around and interview all my customers and say, what percent out of 100% of reasons that you buy from Volk Packaging, how much of it is because they're a good corporate citizen? I don't know how you'd gather that data. I have no tangible way to figure out that sponsoring Little League teams impacts my bottom line in a positive way. I just believe it does.
I would agree with you. I would also say that one of the things that you can use as a gauge is the mere fact that I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing this up unprovoked. This was a thought in my mind long before I ever met you. Yeah, you might have cemented the thought a little bit, but it was a thought in my mind long before I ever met you, that people have a likelihood of wanting to do business with a company that has a demonstrated social conscience. And your company certainly does that. Now let's talk about a little bit about the wall. How did that come about?
So how many boxes do you want to buy, since you're this is so important to you? I'm ready to take an order.
Oh, there's
one truckload, two truckloads.
I wish I was in a position I could buy truckloads of boxes.
All right.
But I can't do that.
All right, back to the wall. I had to ask.
Let's go to the wall.
Okay.
Let's talk about the wall. How did that come about?
The wall came about when my wife and I were traveling across the state of Maine. We were headed over to the Forks to go down the Kennebec River with some friends. And as we were driving along, I don't even know what route it was. I should probably find that out. We drove by this little town of Abbott, Maine. Very small town. I looked over and I saw this beautiful war memorial. And we had plenty of time. I pulled over and I said, do you mind if we go look at this? And my wife knew that I had already pulled over, so it was a rhetorical question, I guess, in hindsight. And so I get out and we're looking at this thing, and we're both just incredibly impressed by it. And we get back in the car. I took some video and some photos, and we got back in the car, and I said, I don't understand. I mean, no offense to Abbott, Maine. I'm sure it's a wonderful community, but there's like 700 people there. If they can build, with 700 people and pretty low tax base, I'm guessing. I mean, there's not a lot of businesses in Abbott, Maine. They built this beautiful war memorial. So why don't we have one of these in Scarborough, where I was living at the time? I'm now a proud Saco resident, but why don't we have one of these in Biddeford? I don't understand why every single town in Maine doesn't have one. So I called up somebody in Biddeford and said that I was looking to sponsor one of these, and could we put it up in Rotary Park or something like that? And I was told, yeah, but we got to get permits and blah, 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 blah. And I said, oh yeah, forget I ever called. I think that's off the record. And I said, I'll just do it myself. And so I looked out my window and I had some lawn, and I'm like, I'll just put up a wall right here. And so I did. And that's how it started. I worked with a company called Get Etched, which is based in South Portland. They were the ones that they cut all the tiles, and they helped me kind of walk through the process of, they were very helpful in doing that. I have to give out a huge shout out to Landry French, who built the wall. It's just incredible. It's a beautiful wall, and I didn't have the Mexicans pay for it at all. And it's 50 feet long, it has a 4-foot foundation, and ultimately we'll have over 700 veterans honored on that wall, and all the money that we raise, every penny of it, goes to the Biddeford Saco Old Orchard Beach VFW.
Okay, I have a question. It may be a little bit off base, a little bit off topic, but you said it has a 4-foot foundation.
Yes.
That means it goes down 4 feet.
Down into the ground.
Okay.
So you're not digging this thing up. It's,
all right.
It's there for a long time.
Well, the reason this pops into my mind is obviously there's a lot of conversation, a lot of controversy over this wall that our president wants to build. And people say, well, you can't, what good is that going to do? They can drill right under the wall. But people lose sight of the fact that there is a foundation that goes down significantly.
Yeah.
That they will have to drill that much further down in order to make it go under that wall. And
sure.
That's going to make it more expensive and more cumbersome and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's not just a wall sitting on top of the land that people can drill under.
Yeah, it's not
so
a chain
easily.
link fence for keep chickens in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they can dig down. I mean, they built the Callahan Tunnel. They built the first trade tower attack in 1994. They blew the bomb up on the 6th floor down. They thought the whole thing was going to come tumbling
that they can do it. It's a question of making it more difficult to do.
Right.
So now that we settled that, now,
okay,
Mike,
onward.
What were your thoughts when Derek approached you for the wall?
Well, actually, he was my commander, Bill Day, and he were the first ones involved with it, I believe.
Yep.
And I mean, it's a godsend for us and all the community activities we do. We support many things. I could give you a list, like, I don't know if you know Old Orchard Beach, the Little League Park had a fire. It burned up their electrical fire. So we donated $300 to that, to help them repair that. We donated $300 to Biddeford High School and Thornton Academy in their support of the Good Shepherd Food Bank, and as part of that thing on Channel 13, you know, the
pep rally.
Yeah, you know, they had the pep rally for the Good Shepherd Food Bank. We also have donated to backpack programs at Jameson School in Old Orchard and Fairfield School in Saco, and we're trying to do one here in Biddeford. And that's just some of the other things. The other things, we've improved our post. You know, we've got an old post, and we've done some repairs thanks to the money we've gotten from this. And we've also reinvested, bought plaques for the veterans and stuff for the wall.
Where does VFW get its funding from?
The Veterans of Foreign Wars, where we get our funding from, we raise all the money. The members of the post, either by, we pay dues, and if I broke it down, National gets about 80%, state gets about 15%, and the post gets about 5%. So that's our general fund. And then we do, as everybody's seen, is Buddy Poppies. You know, around Memorial Days, we go out and rent. And that's for our relief fund, which we support other veterans. If somebody needs oil in the wintertime, or they need things like that, you know, need help, we donate that.
So the VFW is beyond just the veterans.
Yes, it's not like a place to just go drink. It's we do more things in the community than anything, and we do them all the time, and people don't know them a lot of times. I hate to push another place in our area, but what's a national change, Sports Clips. We just gave them an award, a national award, because Sports Clips donates so much out of every haircut to the Veterans of Foreign War. National, not us, but National sent us a plaque, and we went over and presented it to the Sports Clips people in Biddeford.
Sports Clip?
It's a hair Sports Clips.
Sports Clips?
Yeah, right across from Biddeford Crossing.
Okay. I have to remember that. That's new to me. Now, I don't live in Biddeford, but I pass through Biddeford quite a bit.
Yeah. And there's a lot of other things that us and vets do. Right now, we recently, 10 days ago, we buried our, well, actually, we had the funeral for our 27-time post commander, Bob Pettingill, just passed away.
Oh, wow.
And I need to talk to you about that.
Okay.
So, you know, we perform services for all the passing vets. We have a program, we go in the funeral homes. You know, there's a lot of things that we do, and constantly. And we're kept busy. My job as a quartermaster, I'm the finance guy. I'm the one who takes care of all the...
You keep the books.
I keep the books, yes.
I think that's an important point that he made about the gentleman passing, because the VFW for a lot of years has been kind of, has this reputation as this smoky place that old people go and hang out, and we have a lot of new young veterans that could really benefit from not only the services provided by the VFW, but just the camaraderie of being able to talk to somebody like Mike, who was in Vietnam and understands what some of these young men are coming back from, young men and women are coming back from war. You know, he's been there, he's done it. I haven't done it, and I couldn't be any help to them.
One of the shows that we've done in the past, and I mentioned this to you briefly earlier, that I want to just chat about for a short while. One of the shows that we did in the past, I had a Vietnam veteran and a Korean conflict veteran to go through the similarities and the differences that took place during those two conflicts. I mean, they were both of them were technically not wars. They were conflicts. What impact does that differentiation have on the veterans that served? Number one. And number two is, what are some of the differences in the way that the veterans were treated? Now, I was never in the service. I never experienced it. However, I did witness it. It was very easy to witness back in the 60s.
Well, one of the major differences between Vietnam and Korea is the Korean War has never ended. They signed an armistice that is not officially ever ended.
Right.
Vietnam conflict was a treaty signed. So there's one big difference. If you are a military person going into into South Korea and serving, you are in a war zone. Fact. In 2019, we're still part of that same war from the late 40s and early 50s. People have a misconstrued thinking that the Vietnam vets were the only ones that were treated bad. The Korean War vets were too. And not so openly, because television, you know, there wasn't a body count every day on TV of the Korean War like there was
with Vietnam.
And there wasn't all the social unrest of the 60s going on when Korea ended and, you know, when it was being fought. So that's, you know, it's like look at today's wars. It's like everything's on TV every day. You know, you hear about it. You hear about all the little skirmishes from all the different bands and where our people are and all that. So Vietnam people just were not treated well. In fact, many veterans groups didn't even want Vietnam veterans in their groups because you didn't win your war. And that's a fact.
That's a guilt factor that I would suspect a lot of people have. Yeah. The guilt factor over the way we treated the veterans, the Vietnam vets when they came back. I never perceived, I was too young to perceive.
And today, most of like the VFW, most of the people in all the rankings throughout the VFW, you know, commanders and district commanders and, you know, national commanders and stuff are all Vietnam vets. You know, there isn't many World War II and Korean around. I mean, you know, if you fought Korea at 18 in 1950, how old are you now? Right? You're 69 plus 18.
Don't test my arithmetic skills,
So
please.
you're talking you're 75, 80 or older. I'm a Vietnam vet, and I went there in 1971, and I'll be 70 this year. So,
Yeah.
48 years ago today, I was at Da Nang Air Force Base in
Now,
Vietnam.
do you see the Wall of Heroes helping that process, helping that healing process, what healing process there might be?
I would let Mike answer that question.
I would say yes, because I know a lot of people have gone over and looked, and families of people have gone over and looked. Derek was kind enough, as part of one of my jobs in the VFW, I had to find pictures of all the people, Bedford Saco, all the way up into Buxton and Hollis and everything, that actually were killed in Vietnam. And Derek and I talked about it, and I had all the pictures and gave him all the information, and he actually put plaques up for all of those people. And some of the families have contacted me and thanked me because, you know, through the grapevine they hear who did it. I myself have 11 family members on the wall.
It's amazing. 11 family members just
From World War I, World War II, Vietnam. My brother Eric was in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Operation Enduring Freedom, Afghanistan, Grenada. I can't even count how many. He was a career at U.S. Air Force, but he was all in all those places. My father was in the Battle of the Bulge. He came through on Omaha Beach. His twin brother, Alan, who was 3-time Purple Heart recipient, he came through on Utah Beach, both a few days after D-Day. Like I say, and I have my younger brother Steve was in the Coast Guard. He was stationed right here in Portland. I have a cousin she was an Army nurse in the late 50s, early 60s. And I'm trying to think, my great uncles, one was in World War II and one was in World War I. And then I have my brother Mark, his wife, her father and her uncle were both in Europe in World War II. So, you know, and I, you know, you go look at the wall, and I know a lot of people's names and faces that are on the wall. So, and I'm quite sure that you see families, and Derek posts pictures on his Volk Packaging Heroes Wall Facebook page of people going and visiting the wall, and it's true. I go by it every now and then, so you can't beat it.
It's been very interesting to see the reactions that people have, which I was not expecting. There've been some pretty emotional people. At the day of the grand opening, when we unveiled the wall, we had several people who came back later and told me that they had to leave because their father or grandfather was so emotional. Just seeing their picture up on the wall, seeing their father's picture, their brother's picture. We had one of the most amazing moments of the unveiling, and we actually, my customer caught it on video, a customer of mine. So Mike's in second place. There's a customer of mine in Massachusetts who has 12 family members on the wall. Mm-hmm. So they have an entire row and 2 below it. And so she came up and brought her dad, but she didn't tell her dad why he was coming up. And he was a World War II vet. When it became time to unveil the wall, I had the whole thing covered in black. He went up to the wall. I asked all the veterans to come up and tear the wall down, tear the sheet down. And this guy walks up and he stands at the wall and he pulls the thing down, and what nobody knew, and there's no way I would have been able to even help if she asked, he was literally standing right in front of his father's picture, who served in World War I. So this guy, 80 years old, pulls this thing down, and he's looking right at his father, face to face. And he just burst into tears, and it was very emotional.
There's a term for that. It was divine.
I was going to say, it was a God thing. Because there's no way I could have predicted it. If she had come up to me and said, look, I'd like my dad to be near the family, I would have been like, I don't know.
There was some divine influence.
It was incredible. It was incredible. And so it's been really interesting. There's been a lot of people that should be up on the wall that aren't because they don't feel like heroes, which I understand and respect, and I'm sure Mike would say the same thing about himself. But the way I look at it is, whether you went to war or not, I've signed a lot of papers. I've signed a lot of corporate contracts. I've signed a lot of pricing contracts. I've signed a lot. I bought several houses. I've never signed a paper that said that I will die for somebody that I don't even know. So to me, that's a hero. If you're willing to sign on the bottom of a piece of paper that says that I will die for complete strangers, that's a hero.
I will die for people that haven't even been born yet.
I will die for people that haven't even born. I will die for people that don't even like me.
And that was Vietnam.
And that was Vietnam. Yep. I will die for people that are screaming that I'm a horrible person. I will go die for them. To me, that's a hero, whether you go to a war zone or not. That's just my opinion. So that's why if to be on the heroes wall, all you have to do is have served. You do not have to have died. You don't have to be in a war. You do not have to be from Maine. You don't have to even be from Biddeford, Saco. You don't have to be from Maine. You know, my uncle who grew up in Massachusetts and lives in Hilton Head is on there. My brother-in-law's father is from Pennsylvania. He's on there. We have a lady who found me on LinkedIn and sent her family member in from Wisconsin. Who knows if she'll ever even get to Biddeford, Maine to see the wall. But she felt it was something she wanted to do to honor her uncle. So it's been pretty special. So we have about 350 tiles up there now. Right now we're at the point where we can't add any more because it's too cold. It has to be at least 55 degrees. So we're building them up, collecting them. If anybody listening or watching, if they would like a tile, go to volkboxes.com. So if you go to volkboxes.com, there's a page for the Heroes Wall. You can't miss it. It's right on the front page. If you click that, it walks you right through it. It's very simple, walks you right through it. You can pay online. If that's overwhelming for you, if you're someone who doesn't like internet and computers, just come on over to Volk Packaging. We're at 79 Drapeau Street, which is right in the Biddeford Industrial Park. That's our main entrance, is on Drapeau Street. The wall is actually on Morin Street. And come on in. We'll take the picture, we'll scan it, we'll take your information, we'll give you all your information back, and we'll get you a proof. And come April or May, God willing March, that we get warm enough weather, we'll start putting some more tiles up. So right now I think I have, it's slowed down quite a bit with Christmas and everything. So I think we have somewhere around 15 to 20 tiles right now.
I took a drive by.
I
stopped and I looked.
That will be ready to put up come spring. But I'm hoping by spring we'll get a lot more. And I don't know if I told you this, but the VFW magazine, National VFW magazine, is doing an article about the Heroes Wall. And they have 2.5 million subscribers.
That's right. Every member of the VFW gets that magazine.
So that could generate some interest. And you know what? Let's fill the thing and we'll build another one.
Yep.
Wrap the whole bulk packaging.
So we have not yet seen the whole enchilada.
No, in fact, we have
not even
like
close.
4 post offices that we're going to get plaques for.
Good.
We're working on pictures and stuff.
All
Some of
right.
them are stubborn, you know. They don't want to get out their old pictures.
Yeah.
How many people in total do you have working on this?
Working on what?
Well, both of you gentlemen are here, and
Yeah.
you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
You're doing your thing.
It's
Yeah,
me,
it's a collaborative effort.
well,
Yeah,
you know,
we're all
as
pitching in.
part of being a officer or whatever for the VFW, you normally do things. And if we have someone like Derek to work with, that's going to be brought up at post meetings and stuff like that. Or you just go in the post and there's a bunch of people there. You sit there and you talk about it. I mean, it's, you know, have you seen the Heroes Wall over in Biddeford? You know, you say that to other veterans. And we even offer to buy plaques for them as the VFW. They're a member of our post. We will get plaques for them.
We have a lot of sponsorships. So one of the things that I decided when I did this is I don't want anyone to feel like they can't get a tile because they can't afford it. So it's $150 for a tile. But if you can't afford the $150, I don't want someone feeling like, well, I can't honor my dad or my brother because I don't have the $150. So I went out and I got a whole bunch of corporate sponsors from local businesses, and actually some people, just friends of mine, said, here's $150, give it to a vet who can't afford one. And I have, I think, 20-something just sitting there now because everybody that buys a tile seems to want to give me the $150. I'm like, I have sponsorships. So I reached out to a couple of the veterans homes and I said, look, I have these sponsorships. Nobody's using them. I feel bad because I'm actually getting emails now from people that gave me $150 and said, whatever happened to that they're like thinking I'm pocketing them, whatever happened to that $150? I said, nobody's asking for it. So if you're out there and you want a tile and you can't afford one, let me know and we'll get your tile. At the bottom of the tile, it'll say this tile was generously donated by XYZ company, but it's very small and it's just not the point of it. The point of it is the vet.
It's just a demonstration
of another
Of
local
a grateful-
company or a
gratitude to the
right,
veteran.
or a grateful person. Like I said, I had somebody in church a couple weeks ago hand me $150 and said, here, put up a tile for a vet who can't afford one. I said, you don't have any family members? He said, no, just give it to any vet. And so if any local businesses want to donate, it's $150. Send the check to Volk Packaging, Biddeford Heroes Wall, 11 Morin Street, Biddeford. And we'll put that on the spreadsheet. And as soon as a tile comes up that somebody needs a tile that can't afford one. So if you go to our website, on the website, there's a button that says scholarship. So if you click that button, you get a free tile. It's as simple as that.
And any veterans want to talk about it, they can contact me at qmvfw7997@yahoo.com. I'm the quartermaster of VFW Post 7997.
You just answered the question.
That's
I was going
explains.
to say, what does QM stand for?
We should put that.
Quartermaster.
There you go. We should put your email, Mike, on our website.
Yes,
so
that's a
if
good
people
idea.
have questions about the VFW, so I'll do that. We'll put that.
Yeah.
We'll put your email on our website as well. But it's me and it's Mike and my assistant Kara, who's been fantastic. So a lot of she takes when the tiles come in now, she takes them and she sends them up to get etched, sends them the information. Then we take the proof, send it to the person. We've had people that have done 5-6 proofs before they get the tile that is just the way they want it. They'll say, oh, you know what, can you move the photo over here? Can you? Okay, fine. We'll do as many proofs as they want. And people say, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. Look, this tile is going to be up there
Forever.
for 40, 50 years, hopefully. So we don't want it to be wrong. So if it takes 4 proofs to get it right, well, dang it, let's get it right. So it's not a problem at all. And a lot of the older women that don't use the internet that much, they come into the office and they bring in these little photos that they have in their wallets, and they have some basic information, and we try to put something together. One woman came in, sweet as can be, and she said, my husband flew a glider into Normandy. And so I'd really like, instead of his photo on there, I think he would think it was really neat. Because a lot of people do it and they surprise their family members. They don't tell their family member they're doing it. They do it as a surprise, and then they drive them over and show it to him. Mm-hmm. And so she said, I would like a World War II glider on the tile. She said, but I have no pictures of one. I have no idea how I'd even get a picture of one. And she was like 90 something, and I kind of chuckled and I said, well, there's this cool thing called Google. And you can get a picture of just about anything. And so we went into my office, and I typed in World War II glider, and boom, up comes 20 pictures of them, and she was blown away. Yeah. And I said, pick which one you like, and she picked one out. And if you come to the Heroes Wall, when you first come into the parking lot, and we have a special parking spot just for Heroes Wall visitors, when you first come in, like the first tile on your left is that World War II glider.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's really cool.
It's really cool.
And so the other thing that we're doing, which I haven't done yet, is, and I should give a shout out to Black Bear Sign Works in Saco. So if you come to the Heroes Wall, there's a sign, like you remember in MASH where they have the sign that showed all so the same idea, there's a sign, and on the sign it has all the different locations that we've sent soldiers to battle. So it has everything from Verdun to Mosul and everything in between. those are all up there with the exact miles. And my maintenance department was very, very careful to make sure that they were facing the exact direction. So they laid out a compass and they made sure that everything was facing the exact direction that it should be. And that sign was all put together by Black Bear Sign Works in Saco. And they did the Heroes Wall sign as well for the Heroes Wall parking. So the latest thing I have is I got, finally, it took forever, but I got approval from the DOT. Oh yeah, that's a good picture of it. I got approval from the DOT to have signs on Route 1, Route 111. I may be pointing in the wrong direction, but I'm thinking I'm at Volk Packaging, so I go Route 1, Route 111. So Route 1, Route 111, and the Spur. So I got six or eight signs that I've been approved by the DOT. So I'm hoping that come summertime, when we have all the tourists in town, that people will be like, oh, what's that all about? And we'll get some real visitors. And one of the things that I did, I'm a history buff, if you probably hadn't figured out that yet, is and I did not serve, for the record, but as I was starting to build this Heroes Wall and get these tiles in and talk to people, a lot of people said, I'm gonna bring my grandson, or I'm gonna bring my kids. And when I heard that, I thought, okay, well, if we're gonna have a bunch of kids at this thing, then I'm gonna put some tiles up here that talk about some of the wars that we've been in, so that it's also educational. So throughout the different wall, in between the faces, there's one whole section of 10 different tiles, and I put the war and how many Americans were lost. And they're all right in a row with a photo. So I got everything from Joshua Chamberlain to Somalia, Beirut, to the war on terror, and how many people were lost, how many Americans' lives were given. And my hope is that because kids, frankly, don't get much of an education on American history anymore, sadly, is that when kids come visit the wall and they're looking at it, they say to their mom or dad, what was in Beirut, or what did we do in Somalia? And it can lead to a little education.
And I would suspect that a good number of people who were adults when Beirut and Somalia were taking place have either forgotten or never really understood
Probably.
what had transpired.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping that will spur some conversation and help some people learn a little bit more about what we went through and what happened. So it's very exciting. It's something obviously, as you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about, and the fact that the money's staying locally is just awesome.
I can't tell that. That comes as a total surprise to
Yeah.
me. But I will say this. In my mind, I'm thinking people can serve in very many different ways. People can serve at the time of the conflict, in the conflict. People can serve in the healing process of the conflict. I would venture to say that if I heard you correctly, you said you never served. You're serving right now.
Oh, definitely.
You're serving after the conflict. You're serving as part of the healing process, which will last for years. And in some cases, they'll never heal.
Well, thank you, but it doesn't even compare to what this guy did.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
And another thing, we talked about it, in fact, with the guy from the Journal, is to get, like, the kids to go up and visit the wall for the schools.
Yeah, we're hoping to get some field trips.
My grandkids go to St. James School. It's a Catholic junior high.
We're running up against the clock.
All right.
So
yeah, but this is important.
All my grandkids have been to the wall. In fact, my granddaughter even brought it up in her class.
Yeah.
When they were talking about.
We'd love to get school field trips over there. So if anybody's watching from a school,
Yep.
let me know. Reach out to me. You can reach me through the volkboxes.com. And I would love to come out and talk to all the kids, explain to them, tell them some of the stories on the wall, because one of the great things that I've got to do through building this wall is I've heard a lot of these stories. People tell me all about their father or their grandfather, and I would love to come out. I love talking to kids. So I would love coming out and talking to kids and telling them all about what is on this wall, why we did it, why it's so important to honor these people. And obviously right now, this time kind of a tough time of year for it, but come spring, let's get some field trips out there. And then again, I'm hoping that with the signs that we put up on the roads, and ultimately I would love to see the wall be named like some kind of town historical thing or tourist attraction, or put on flyers at the rest stops on the highway. I mean, I want people to come see this thing, not because I want to show it off. I mean, I want to show it off, not show me off. The only regret I have with the Heroes Wall is that I wish I had moved it about 10 feet toward Drapo Street, because I can't see it from my office. I can't see it at all from my office. So I never know if anybody's out there or not. So I told my accounting department, if you see somebody out there, let me know, because I can't see it from my office, which is kind of a bummer. I should have thought that
You'll
out.
start seeing more people now that there's someone tiles on the back. You'll see
Yeah,
it.
well, if I slide my chair back, I can see some of the backside. So once people start coming around to the back, and we've started building up the backside as well. So, but we've had great support. One of our guests here in the studio, Paul Foran, has been fantastic trying to get us some media coverage. So shout out to Paul, and it's been great. And I can't appreciate everything that you guys have done.
Oh, thank you.
To help
He's
support
done
the
a
wall.
lot to help us, which in turn helps the community. That's why we're all here. We support the community, and I'd like to shout out anybody's listening to us to help the Coast Guard people now that are not getting paid while this furlough is happening. They're not under the Department of Defense. They're under the Department of Homeland Security, so they're not getting
They're not
paid.
getting paid.
So anybody who can do anything to help anybody that's in the Coast Guard, the E1s, E2s, they don't make very much money, the lower ranking people, and most of them have families. So anybody that can help them out, please do.
And on June 6th, we're going to have, so we unveiled the wall on June 6th last year. So on June 6th, we're going to have another little ceremony of some sort and try to get a nice crowd out there and try to get some school kids to come and have a little 1-year anniversary of the wall.
And I want to clarify the thing about VFW Post 7997. We're based in Old Orchard, and it is the Old Orchard Post. At one time, there was a post in Biddeford, and there was a post in Saukville. But because of declining, all the World War II people passing away, they were slowly enveloped into Old Orchard. And we support all the veterans in Biddeford, Saukville, and Old Orchard. My membership is basically, we have a lot of people that are out of state, Florida. My brother's in Ohio, but, I know everybody likes to call it Biddeford, Saukville, Old Orchard, but it's Old Orchard Beach Post.
Or you've got another friend here.
Yep.
That's bit for the issues that matter.
Yep.
That's same to you, Derek. I do not want this to be. I am not a fan by any stretch of the imagination of one and done. Now Derek has already used Derek as proof of that, because this is his third time on the show.
A veteran.
You're a veteran. That's right. And you survived.
Yes.
But thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much,
thank
Bob,
you
for
for your
inviting me.
service.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure as always.
And folks, it's a wrap. Have yourselves a great weekend. Enjoy and take advantage of the beautiful weather, as opposed to yesterday where I spent 3 hours on the road. Not fun at all. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.